Okay, hope you are getting my screen now. So in today's session, we will be just introducing what you mean by structured query language. Okay, so in third chapter, we will be learning the introduction to SQL, and also it includes the history of SQL as well. What are the components of SQL? What are the different database transactions and languages? We are going to discuss about the different data types used in SQL, and also we are going to discuss how we can apply data constraints while writing or while creating a definition for the database objects. And at last, we are going to discuss about what are the different Oracle functions available in Oracle. Okay, so this is what the lesson plan, what we are going to cover in third chapter. Now let us understand what is SQL. So SQL stands for Structured Query Language. SQL stands for what? Structured Query Language. Suppose if you get this question like what is SQL or define SQL, then you have to write what definition. Please do not expand it. Just expansion ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ you can write SQL is nothing but a structured query language ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬಹುದು. But when they ask what is SQL, when they ask define SQL, then you have to write this particular definition. What is that? SQL is a standard and programming language which is mainly designed for querying, retrieval, and management of data in RDBMS. Also, we are using this language while creating the schema, database schema, and also in maintaining the database in a systematic manner. Note, SQL ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನೈತಲ್ಲ, so it is what a standard and programming language which is mainly designed for writing a queries. We can write different queries by using a different commands here, and also we can write a query so that we can retrieve the records which has been stored in database, and also we can manage our data in RDBMS. We can update our data, we can delete an existing data, and also by using these language we can even create database structure that we call it as database schema, and also we can modify the schema, we can alter the structure of the schema by using what? SQL. Assume that a thief caught by police, now they have to communicate with each other. So the police obviously has to inquire him how, why, like this. So obviously they have to communicate with each other. Normally what happens here? They both use certain language which is commonly known to both of them, isn't it? So similarly what happens, as a user, suppose he or she wants to interact with RDBMS, obviously they have to use one common language which is known as SQL. Even here the user should also know this language, and also the system also should know this language. Normally whatever RDBMS softwares we are going to use, most of the RDBMS will be using what? SQL as a standard programming language. With the help of this language we are able to query, or we are able to retrieve the records, or we are able to manage the records in RDBMS. Along with these records, even we can create a database schema, and also we are able to modify these schema. So this is what about SQL. So this SQL was adopted as a standard by American National Standards Institution, what we call it as a simply ANSI. in 1986. Because of its data standards, this standard certification has been issued by American National Standards Institute, that is ANSI, in the year 1986. By the next year itself, that is in the 1987, even it has got certification for its standard from International Organization for Standardization. That is simply we are calling it as ISO. It has got two standard certifications because of its standards maintained throughout the globe. Now let us try to understand the history of SQL. Most commonly, you know, the relational model has been introduced by E.F. Accord. He represented one paper called as a relational model of data for large shared data banks. He presented this paper in the famous journal called as the Association of Computer Machinery, ACM journal, in June 1970. In earlier chapters we discussed the RDBMS has been introduced in the year 1970. Earlier we were using just a normal DBMS. DBMS has been introduced in the year 1960. Later on, after a decade, so when E.F. Accord presented this paper in 1970, it has been accepted. And some of these standard companies, they have started implementing relational model by using a certain language. So initially this language was called as SEQL. As you can see here, SEQUEL. Initially the SQL was called as SEQUEL. So it is known as Structured English Query Language. Earlier this SQL was called as Structured English Query Language because in this language we are using what? English like statements. We are using English like commands. So that's why this language was called as Structured English Query Language. And also I have explained about the standardizations. In 1986, ANSI has issued a certificate because of its standards. And again in the next year in 1987, even from ISO also it got certification. And nowadays, this programming language is accepted as a standard RDBMS language. It doesn't matter what kind of RDBMS software we are using. Most of the RDBMS softwares use a common language which is known as SQL. Nowadays, we are calling this structured English query language as simply SQL, that is structured query language. That's it. So this is all about the history of SQL. So now let us try to understand what are the elements of SQL. So these elements are nothing but commonly used while writing these statements. We are using certain terminologies. We are using these elements. Sometimes we are calling a statement. The first element of SQL is what? A statement. What do you mean by statement? Assume that these are the end users who want to interact with RDBMS software. To interact with this RDBMS software, they will use SQL statements. They are going to write some statements. They are using certain sentence. Those sentences are known as statements, instructions. These end users, they are going to form a sentence. They are going to form certain instructions. They are going to write certain queries or commands. All these are called as SQL statements. And because of these statements, RDBMS will understand what the end user is trying to say. Sometimes end users will write a query. A statement is nothing but instructions. A query is nothing but end user is asking some questions to RDBMS so that RDBMS has to respond with a result. So end user is going to form a query here. Assume that I want to see employee records. So for that, I will write a query like select a star from employee. So when I execute these queries, RDBMS has to respond with data. Even I may include certain conditions while writing a query. Assume that I want to see employee details who is getting a salary more than 5,000. So likewise, based on a specific condition, it has to generate a data as a response from RDBMS. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು end user is sending a queries. Based on this query, RDBMS will execute and it is going to generate data on a specific condition to the users. So that here the user is going to get the response. The next element is expressions. Sometimes end users will use these expressions. Based on these expressions, RDBMS has to generate a proper response which will be in the form of a scalar value, or sometimes the result might be in the form of a tabular structure. Say for example, I want to find out what is 2 plus 2. So to calculate 2 plus 2, so this is nothing but the expression I want to find out. I want to find the value for this particular expression. So this is what expression I'm going to pass to RDBMS software. So RDBMS software, it will accept those expressions and it will perform certain task and it has to return the value as a response. So sometimes my expression may return a single value which is called as a scalar value. ಇವಾಗ ನೋಡ್ರಿ 2 plus 2 ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ obviously the result will be 4. So it will generate 4 as a scalar value. But sometimes what happens, I may pass expressions so that RDBMS will generate the result in the form of a tabular structure. Tabular structure ಒಳಗೆ ಅದು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ನ ನಮಗೆ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ as a response ಅಂತ ಕಳಿಸಬಹುದು sometimes. So this is how we can execute expressions. And sometimes we may apply predicates also. Predicates are nothing but the conditions. We can put some conditions on the data. Assume that I want to see the employee details who are working for particular departments. I want to see the student details who have passed in first class with distinction. I want to see the student details who have got failed in examination. So likewise, I can apply certain conditions like department. I may apply a passing criteria for the students. So even ನಾವೇನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, predicates ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Assume that I want to see the student details whose percentage is greater than or is equal to 70. So ನೋಡ್ರಿ, percentage is greater than or is equal to 70 ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೆಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, RDBMS ಗೆ ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಹಂಗೂನು ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದ್ಸರಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೆಡಿಕೇಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. We can apply conditions on the data based on which condition it has to execute or it has to generate the response. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೆಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Sometimes we may use certain clauses also. While writing a queries, we use certain clauses like where clause, order by clause, group by clause, having clause. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ clauses ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ. ಈಗ ನಾವು queries ನ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ depending upon our requirement, we may use these clauses. But these clauses are optional. Compulsion ಅಲ್ಲ. ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಬೇಕು, ಯಾವಾಗ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ we can utilize these clauses. ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ನಾ ಪ್ರೆಡಿಕೇಟ್ ನ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ವೇರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ವೇರ್ so and so condition. Likewise where clause na use ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. Sometimes I want to fetch the result in ascending order, ಅವಾಗ order by use ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. So ಈ ರೀತಿ based on requirements we are using so many clauses here, and these are the most commonly used what clauses. And even we use white spaces. ನೋಡ್ರಿ, while writing a statement, ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ we write a statement or instructions ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. While writing a statement we may leave white spaces. ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು white spaces ನ ನಾವು include ಮಾಡಬಹುದು between a keywords. So that will not be considered here. ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಾದರೂ white spaces ನ ಬಿಡಬಹುದು, it doesn't matter, but it will compile perfectly. ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಒಂದೇ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಬಿಡಬೇಕಂತ ಏನು ರೂಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. So I may leave n spaces. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು, after writing a statement I have pressed enter here and I'm going to terminate the statement semicolon in the next line. It doesn't mean I can press enter and I can include semicolon, or I can leave some space and I can close the statement by using a semicolon. So this is how we can leave white spaces between the keywords. So these are nothing but what several SQL elements. And lastly, the semicolon. Every SQL statement has to terminate with a semicolon. It is what something like a full stop. We use a full stop to indicate what the end of the sentence. Hange ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು SQL statements ಬರಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we are terminating the SQL statements by using what semicolon. As you can see here, I am using a semicolon to terminate the statement here. So this is what the semicolon, which will be used as termination. So I hope these are what SQL elements, and I hope there is no confusion regarding SQL elements. So now let us try to understand what do you mean by embedded SQL. The embedded SQL is nothing but the combination of computing power of programming language along with database manipulation capabilities of SQL. Sometimes what happens, it becomes necessary. Sometimes it becomes necessary to combine programming languages along with the database manipulation capabilities. What do you mean by database manipulation capabilities? Assume that I want to calculate a salary for the employees. See, this is what manipulation, because I want to calculate the salary. I want to update the salary for employees. So this is what basic database manipulation capabilities that SQL is going to provide. Along with these manipulation capabilities, suppose I want to merge the power of programming languages. So say for example, how periodically it has to calculate the salary. Whether are you providing a salary for employees weekly, or are you providing a salary for employees 15 days once, or else are you providing a salary for employees monthly? So this I want to integrate by using what the power of programming languages. How it has to calculate the employee salary, that I'm going to implement by writing a code, by writing a programs. So the combinations of both these, that is programming language and database manipulation capabilities, collectively called as embedded SQL. I hope you have heard the word like embedded devices. The embedded devices are nothing but the hardware components which are integrated with the programming language capabilities. For example, whatever the televisions you have at your home. It is nothing but one best example for embedded device. Nowadays we are having what? The refrigerators. Nowadays we are having what? The automated washing machines, air conditioners. All these are nothing but the devices with the programming language capabilities. Sir, how, sir? You can see, you can work with your remote controller. You can operate your TV by using what? Remote controller, where in which we are going to implement the programming capabilities. If you increase the volume up, then automatically it will increase the volume. If you change the channel, then automatically it will change the channel. So that is nothing but the programming capabilities we have embedded within these devices. So that's why these devices are called as embedded devices. In the same manner, even the SQL capabilities are merged with the power of programming languages. So that's why it is called as embedded SQL. We are writing some of the functions here. We are writing some of the codes along with the database manipulation capabilities. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? Embedded SQL ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So later on, these embedded SQL statements are passed by embedded SQL preprocessor, and so that later on it will be compiled by host compiler. Then your embedded SQL statement will execute. So this is how the embedded SQL is going to work. I hope you have understood.